live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
We get a first look at what the BMO Center will look like when the Ice Hogs return home. It comes after months of renovations.
Rockford Public Library gives an update on when its new location opens up. This comes as the library celebrates 150 years in the Forest City.
And State Line vets get the chance to see memorials built in their honor in our nation's capital. Their trip ends with a thankful community showing its support. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Eric Wilson. Renovating Rockford, the city's west side's getting a bit of a facelift.
Yesterday, we told you about plans for the blighted Barbara Coleman complex. And renovations at Davis Park are underway, with crews tearing down Founders Landing this week. Construction is underway for the new Rockford Public Library. We'll have more on their progress coming up. And then over at the BMO Harris Bank Center, we're getting the first look at some new additions before the Ice Hogs' first home game of the season. Some upgrades you'll see include a new scoreboard, LED ribbon boards, new sporting lights, Wi-Fi connectivity to the building, and renovated bathrooms. It also includes upgraded premium spaces like suites and club boxes. Rockford Public Library is celebrating 150 years here in the State Line.
And the new building downtown in its former space is getting closer to being done. Nikel Delgado was able to talk to staff about some upgrades. Nikel.
That's right, Eric and Mimi. The Rockford Public Library has been serving the Rockford community for 150 years, and the staff tells me they're excited to return to their permanent home.
I'm really excited because I've wanted to see what they were going to do with the new building and how when we get moved in, how much fun it'll be helping people even more.
Gina Lithgow has been working at the Rockford Public Library for 57 years. The librarian assistant tells me she's excited to celebrate 150 years as the library moves into the future.
It's been interesting to see the changes in the library over the years. You know, we started out with typewriters for people to use, and now we have computers for people to use.
Right now, RPL is temporarily in a different space as their new building is being built along the banks of Rock River.
And now you really can see the building coming together. And we want the community to remember that it's happening and be a part of it so that they know that this is for them.
Bridget Finn tells me it will be a great space for everyone.
Home is number one, work is number two. You need to have a third place, which is a space accessible to everybody where they can be exposed to fresh ideas. And those spaces are really important for metropolitan areas to revitalize, and that's really what we offer at the library.
As Jean looks forward to moving into the new building next year, she believes it will continue to be a key component in downtown Rockford to educate, inform, entertain, and culturally enrich the community.
Well, I hope we will continue to be an important part of the community. As I say, we provide services that you may not be able to get other places.
There is a fundraiser for the library tonight. It starts at 6. I'll have that information on our website. And next week, the library invites the community to sign the last foundational structure beam before it's installed. Mimi?
All right, thanks, Nikel. A Janesville teenager is charged with trying to kill a woman. Police responded to North Osborne Avenue, just south of West Memorial Drive yesterday for a stabbing. They found a 19-year-old woman with multiple stab wounds. She was rushed to the hospital for surgery. Police arrested 19-year-old Asher Spitz at the scene. He's now charged with attempted first-degree intentional homicide.
Healthcare systems across the country and right here in the State Line work to increase the conversation about kids and guns. OSF Healthcare is one of almost 200 facilities taking part in a new campaign. It's called Doesn't Kill to Ask. Guns are the leading cause of death for kids. In fact, every day 13 children die from guns across the country, usually from kids finding a gun and playing with it or suicide. OSF wants to lower that number by getting people talking.
Because really it's about education and communication. Do you imagine that? You know, what we're trying to do is say, listen, everybody is a part of this. So it can't be us versus them. It has to be a shared safety, shared responsibility. And one of those things is just having almost like kind of like a natural conversation.
There's a website dedicated to the campaign. On it, there's information about how to safely store guns and how to talk to your kids about the issue. You can find a link to that page at mystateline.com.
It's been 1 year since the Safe to Help app was launched, and it's already proven to be the outlet many students needed. The platform is meant to make young people feel safe and heard. Safe to Help is an Illinois Emergency Management Agency app that connects students to licensed professionals. The idea is to make a trusted adult available for kids dealing with bullying, violence, substance abuse, or just need mental health support. Since its release, the app has seen close to 900 users across the state, with the top reports being bullying, suicidal ideation, and drug use. Winnebago County hopes to be able to give out more free Ring doorbells. The first round of registration for people who live in districts 4, 10, 11, and 15 closed earlier this week. Board members decided to use their share of American Rescue Plan money to give out the doorbells. Everyone who signed up must agree to share recorded video with the sheriff's office. The hope is the videos will help law enforcement solve crime and even prevent future crime. Local veterans get a warm welcome home after a trip to our nation's capital.
More than 200 of them in 6 coach buses arrived at the Boone County Fairgrounds. The vets were escorted by police, fire, and motorcycles. World War II and Korean War veterans, along with Rosie the Riveters, made the trip thanks to Vets Roll. It was the first trip to Washington, D.C. since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. It was all free thanks to donations. Organizers say it's the least they can do.
You look at what they do, what they've provided for this country, for all of us. What we're doing here is very small compared to what they've done. So everybody that is here, the guys that are out right now escorting them, they wouldn't miss it for the world.
After stopping at the fairgrounds, the group made its way up to Beloit, where the escort ended at Central Christian Church.
Hospitals across the country are sounding the alarm about a significant spike in respiratory illnesses among children.
Coming up, what health experts say we should do to protect our kids before winter arrives.
And Stateline High School unveils its new state-of-the-art athletic facility. Coming up at 6, the Performance Center is named after a former leader of the school.
High temperatures today made it into the 60s. We actually made it to 64 degrees. Quite a feat considering we started off in the 20s this morning. We go even further for the weekend. More on that and our rain chance too, all coming up a little later.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team with Eric Wilson, Mimi Murphy, Scott Leber, and Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
We turn now to a troubling rise in pediatric hospitalizations. More and more children are being admitted with respiratory illnesses, and doctors say it's mainly not COVID.
One hospital in Connecticut so overwhelmed it's considering setting up a field hospital. ABC's Rena Roy shows us how health professionals are getting creative to save lives.
Exclusive footage takes us inside the emergency department at Connecticut Children's Hospital in Hartford, where more than a dozen children are waiting for beds. The ER over capacity, a growing number of children being admitted with respiratory illnesses. Officials considering asking the National Guard and FEMA for help.
We're thinking of other alternatives as well as adding space such as a mobile hospital out here on the front lawn.
Some hospitals so overwhelmed they're treating their young patients in the hallways or setting tents up outside.
We're seeing a very high volume of patients and very high acuity. A surprising number of kids who are sick and requiring admission.
Hospitals in over half the states in the U.S. feeling the strain. Doctors associating the increase partly with looser COVID restrictions. No social distancing, less mask wearing, and therefore more exposure. In Fort Worth, Texas, 4-month-old Lindy Green was hospitalized with RSV.
She was just really lethargic. She was sleeping pretty much nonstop. Started running a pretty significant fever.
Lucas, also 4 months old, has now recovered from RSV after being hospitalized in Indianapolis for irregular breathing.
Every day he was getting worse, not better.
Experts warning we could see an increase in respiratory illnesses with the flu season right around the corner.
The next 4 to 8 weeks are going to be challenging for us in the healthcare system.
To help avoid a difficult winter, healthcare officials are stressing the need for families to get up to date with their vaccinations. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Forget about those 30s and the snow we had Monday. Temperatures are soaring.
Forgotten. No problem there. Candace has details on a big warm-up this weekend that's coming up.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
It has been a beautiful afternoon compared to the colder days we've had as of late. Sunshine, temperatures climbing into the low 60s. Very comfortable out there as well. We take a live look with our SkyTrack camera out at the Park Hills Golf Course here in Freeport. Looking up to the north, you've got a little more cloud cover kind of working in from the northwest, and that'll turn our skies partly cloudy as we go through this evening. This is actually part of a ridge of high pressure that will continue to slide to the east over the next couple of days, and that's where our warmth comes to play. We warmed back into the low 60s today. We're mid and upper 70s here by the time we get through the weekend. A beautiful weekend to get out and enjoy. You might just have to kind of watch the wind because it is going to be a little gusty for both Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and those winds could also carry into early next week. Woody Mott shared this picture. This was from a little while ago as some of the color was just starting to peek through, although a lot of the leaves blowing off of the trees. With the winds we've had as of late, really the last week and a half, our average peak wind gust has been about 32, 34 miles per hour. So it's been a windy stretch. Beautiful picture as the sun was setting here. Sarah sharing this photo. So thank you to Woody and Sarah for your fall photos. King at WTVO.com is where you can share those pictures. Color really starting to peak on the trees here. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll start to see more leaves fall, and then that color fades as we get a little bit further into the fall and eventually winter season. 62 our temperature right now in Rockford, Freeport, down in Rochelle. You're at 63 in Dixon and 60 right now in Monroe. Winds straight from the west at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. As I mentioned, our wind speeds go up, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour tomorrow, 25 mile per hour wind gust Saturday. And again, 30, 35 mile per hour wind gusts going into Sunday. We've got a nice stretch of 70-degree warmth coming up. In fact, a couple of spots could hit the upper 70s, especially Saturday afternoon. On average, our last 70 October degree day usually occurs right around the 26th. The earliest last 70-degree day we had September 28th, 1959. Our latest 70-degree day, November 21st, all the way back in 1913. We've got 4 days here where that temperature is likely going to make it into the 70s. Now, the downfall with that, outside of the wind, the warmth, and the lower relative humidity, we could actually have an elevated fire risk, especially south of Rockford Friday, Saturday. So just be mindful if you're going to be doing any outdoor burning. Just know that it's been dry, and as that lower relative humidity occurs, that could cause that fire, if you're not watching it very closely, to kind of spread. So just keep that in mind, because the weekend, I have a feeling a lot of us are going to be out and kind of finishing up that last kind of yard work before we get really into the deep heart of cold. Temperatures in the upper 30s here going into tomorrow morning, so a little cool, but as the sun comes up, we are going to warm pretty quickly during the morning and afternoon, all the way into the low to mid 70s tomorrow. Lots of sunshine, great night for our Friday night football games. Temperatures tomorrow night back down into the 40s. We're back into the 70s on Saturday. We will add in a little more cloud cover though once we get into Sunday, but that should have a limited impact on our temperatures. Look at these overnight lows too, guys. Saturday night, Sunday night, even Monday night as well. Chance for rain does go up a little, kind of depending on the timing of a cold front. Could be as early, could see a couple of showers and maybe even a thunderstorm Sunday into Monday. That could carry over into at least Tuesday, Wednesday, but temperatures will drop back down and we may see the lower 50s return for a time going into next week.
It wasn't that long ago we weren't even getting to those overnight lows as highs during the day.
Exactly.
Candace, thanks.
Scott's in next with sports. He'll tell us why the Ice Hogs home opener Saturday could be more emotional than usual.
And the Bulls' high hopes for this season went up even more after what happened last night in Miami.
Now sports with sports director Scott Lever.
Ice Hogs home openers are always special, but it's going to be amped up even more Saturday evening because of the opponent, the Chicago Wolves. The Hogs' hated rivals will be here, and the Wolves are far and away the best team in the American Hockey League last season. They won the Calder Cup, but the Ice Hogs dominated them in their regular season series. But then the Wolves got the last laugh when they swept the Ice Hogs out of the second round of the playoffs. None of that has been forgotten by the players.
It's obviously been a huge rival. For us, I think it's, going back to what we did that gave us success last year against that team. It's a team that plays fast and a team that has a lot of skill. So we're excited. I think we've got a lot of skill and a lot of speed up front as well.
Current Ice Hogs forward David Gust was on the other side of this rivalry last season. He played for the Wolves, and he helped them eliminate the Ice Hogs and win the Cup.
The rivalry was pretty tough last year. Being on the Wolves side, the Rockford kind of had our number in the regular season. So it's a game you always get up for, the I-90 rivalry. So it'll be fun.
That home opener Saturday will start at 7 o'clock. And the Bulls season opener could not have gone better last night. They were on the road and won over the Heat 116-108. They won without Zach LaVine, who was resting a sore knee. DeMar DeRozan, though, looked like the same dominant player he was last season. He scored 37 points and added 6 rebounds and 9 assists.
I give our guys a lot of credit from the standpoint that, I thought in training camp they worked really hard. I think they understand they got to do everything together. DeMar was spectacular, obviously, offensively, keeping the lead and, allowing us to have some separation. We weren't perfect, but I thought we competed really well.
The Bulls will be back on the court tomorrow night on the road against the Wizards. Their home opener will be Saturday night against Cleveland. That's sports. We'll be right back.
Candace, we'll have a final look at weather in a moment.
First, here's what's coming up on News Nation.
New pilot reports and video of UFOs over the Pacific. So how did the aliens get past NASA's new billion-dollar satellite? That's On Balance tonight. Here's a look at tonight's Cuomo.
Coming up tonight on the show, broadcasting legend Sam Donaldson joins me with his take on today's media and political coverage. And a News Nation exclusive investigation uncovering a frightening new cybercrime ring, stalking and attacking complete strangers and being paid to do it. Tonight on my show on News Nation.
That's all coming up on the cable and satellite channels that you see there on the left. You can also head to newsnation.com.
Our first warning interactive radar brought to us by Rockford Auto Glass and More. Things are pretty quiet and clear for us. Just a few clouds moving in tonight. Temperatures will drop down into the upper 30s. Winds will stay pretty light here as we go through the overnight. Big warm up still expected here going into the weekend. We were in the low 60s today, 70s for Friday, Saturdays, hanging on to some of that too. On Monday, it does get a little windy for the weekend, and then temperatures will drop back next week.
All right, thanks, Candace.
And thank you for spending some time with us. Stay safe.